In motocross, dominance is supposed to be fragile. One injury, one mechanical failure, one bad night. That's usually all it takes for a season to fall apart. But in 2023, Team Honda HRC didn't just win races, they erased margins. They controlled outcomes across classes, across series, across the entire calendar. This wasn't just one rider catching fire. It was a factory operating at full scale, and nothing could interrupt it. But before we pop the champagne, you have to understand why this shouldn't have happened. The history of American motocross is littered with almosts. Sure, Ricky Carmichael had his undefeated seasons in 2002 and 2004, James Stewart was flawless in 2008, but those were individual achievements. What Honda pulled off in 2023 was a synchronized multi-rider assault that defied the odds of injury, mechanical failure, and bad luck. For 20 years, the prestigious 450 Supercross #1 plate had been a ghost for Honda. Think about the names that rode red during that time. Trey Canard, Justin Barcia, even Eli Tomac. They won races, they were fast, but they couldn't bring home the big one. The last time a Honda rider held that Premier Class Supercross trophy was 2003. That is a 2-decade drought for a brand that prides itself on winning. 2023 was different. Chase Sexton, Hunter Lawrence, and Jett Lawrence were all winning at the same time under Honda's factory effort. This was pure, concentrated domination from HRC. You can have the best riders on the planet, but if the bike fights them, they'll lose. That had been Honda's problem for years. The CRF 450R was fast, but unforgiving, especially late in the race when mistakes get expensive. For 2023, that changed. Not because Honda chased more power, but because they fixed what mattered underneath the rider. The bike stopped fighting back and started letting Sexton attack instead of survive. The engineers reworked the aluminum twin spar frame, dialing in flex where the bike had been rigid. That difference showed up most in the whoops, where Sexton makes his time. Too stiff and the bike skates. Get it right and it stays straight, planted, and fast when the race starts breaking riders. Then you have the electronics. Modern Supercross is a science of traction. The 2023 bike utilized HRC launch control and Honda selectable torque control. This will have the team to map power delivery for the specific soil of that night. Hard-packed clay in Salt Lake City requires a different power curve than the soft, rutted mud of East Rutherford. And we can't forget the 250. The CRF 250 had its own evolution. Before 2022, that engine was a screamer. It had high RPM power but zero bottom-end torque. You had to rev it to the moon to get it to move. For 2023, they fixed that. They went to a single exhaust and increased the airbox volume by a massive 78%. This let the engine breathe. It gave the Lawrence brothers the throttle response they needed to clear triples right out of a corner. And once the machine and the people were finally aligned, it was time to find out if it actually worked under the lights. The human element of Team Honda HRC in 2023 was a weirdly perfect mix of legacy and fresh blood. At the top, you had Lars Lindstrom, the team manager. His roots with Honda go back to the 70s through his father, Gunnar. Lars didn't just walk into the job. He started as a shop assistant in 2000. He wrenched for legends like Jeremy McGrath and Kevin Winham. He knows what it smells like inside that semi. He knows the pressure. That's why he was named Team Manager of the Year. Then you have the mechanics. These are the guys who lose sleep so riders can win. Christian Ducharme, Jett's mechanic, won Mechanic of the Year for the 450 class. Cameron Camara, Hunter's guy, won it for the 250 class, and Brandon Zimmerman, who kept Chase Sexton's bike together during a brutal title fight. But the biggest strategic move came before the gate even dropped and Anaheim won. Lindstrom and the Honda management made a call. They decided to split the Lawrence brothers. Jett would race the 250 West region, Hunter would race the East. If they raced the same coast, they'd be stealing points from each other. By splitting them, Honda maximized the probability of taking both titles. It was a calculated decision to go after both titles, and it worked. The season kicked off in January with the Supercross series, a long, unforgiving grind. The objective was simple: End the drought. Jett Lawrence was the heavy favorite for the West. He'd already won the East title the year before. Round 1 at Anaheim, the spiritual home of Supercross. Jett qualified second, which is fine, but in the main event, he flipped a switch. He led wire to wire. He crossed the finish line with a gap that said, "I am not here to play." This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. The number 18 plate was chasing a legacy. But racing is never a straight line. Round 2 in Oakland got hammered by severe weather and was postponed. This broke the rhythm. The riders had to sit and wait. When they finally went back to Oakland, Jett didn't flinch. He won decisively.
Jett Lawrence, RJ Hampshire, and Cameron McAdoo 1, 2, 3 on the night in the 250 main event in Oakland.
The real test came at Glendale for the Triple Crown. This format is chaotic. 3 shorter main events instead of 1 long one. If you have a bad start in one, your night could be ruined. Jett went 1-3-1. That second race, where he finished third, showed his maturity. He had a mediocre start. A younger Jett might have panicked and tried a sketchy pass. Instead, he managed the points. He took the third. Then he came out in the final race and crushed it to take the overall.
He gets the win, 1-3-1, gets the overall, does the burn.
By the time the series got to Denver for round 16, it was basically a victory lap. Jett only needed a top 10 finish to clinch. He rode smart, finished third, and locked up the 250 SX West Region Championship. That was Honda's 20th Lights Class title.
Did such a great job, and the champion is crowned yet again.
He capped off his 250 career in Salt Lake City at the East-West Showdown. This is where the best from both coasts meet. He beat everyone, including his brother, to win the final race of his 250 career. His stats were absurd. 6 wins, 100% podium rate. He beat RJ Hampshire by 37 points.
So Jett Lawrence takes the East-West Showdown, and his storied career on the 250 comes to a conclusion.
While Jett was owning the West, Hunter Lawrence was on a mission in the East. His story is different. Since moving to the U.S., Hunter had been plagued by injuries. He had the speed, but bad luck followed him. 2023 was his year to punch back. He won the opener in Houston and then just went on a tear. He won 7 out of the 9 East Region rounds. That is domination. But the race that defined his season was Tampa. It was a drama-filled main event. Hunter didn't get the whole shot. He had to stalk the leaders. He waited. He pressured them. And late in the race, he made the pass to secure the win. It showed he could wait, calculate, and still strike. Then came Daytona. This is the roughest track of the year. It's a hybrid of motocross and supercross. It exposes weaknesses. Hunter dominated it. Winning Daytona puts you on a special list. It was a psychological blow to every other rider on the gate. It proved he was physically unmatched.
I mean, just dominated this main event, was perfect execution, showing that he is truly...
He went to Nashville for round 15, needing a safe finish to clinch. Most riders would cruise, but Hunter didn't. He grabbed the whole shot and disappeared. He won the race and the 250 SX East Region Championship in the most dominant way possible. The celebration was emotional. He talked about the years of struggle the family went through to get there. He won the title by 58 points. That is a massive margin in a short series.
250 East champion in 2023 is Hunter Lawrence.
So the Lawrence brothers had the 250 class on lock, but the 450 class? That was a dogfight. Chase Sexton was up against 2 titans, Eli Tomac on the Yamaha and Cooper Webb on the KTM. Chase was the fastest rider on the track, that's a fact. He qualified fastest at 14 of the 17 rounds. But speed doesn't always equal points. Early in the season, he struggled with unforced errors. He would be leading, looking perfect, and then, boom, a crash. In Tampa, he was leading Cooper Webb and crashed in the whoops. It was frustrating to watch. You knew he had the speed to win, but the consistency wasn't there yet. In Anaheim 1, he finished a steady third. His teammate, Colt Nichols, had a great debut in 6th, but third place doesn't win championships against Tomac. The turning point was Atlanta, round 13. Sexton won convincingly. You could see the momentum shifting. He was gaining confidence, but he was still behind in points. Then came Nashville, round 15. the championship landscape shifted violently in a single night. Cooper Webb crashed hard in the heat race. He suffered a concussion and had to withdraw from the series. Just like that, one rival was gone. Sexton won the main event that night, closing the gap on Eli.
Great gains for Chase Sexton. Yep. I mean, this was a tough racetrack.
The next round was Denver, and this is one of those moments in sports history you never forget. Tomac was leading the main event. He was unchallenged. He was on his way to likely wrapping up the title. And then, on a simple rhythm section, he ruptured his Achilles tendon. He rolled off the track in agony. Sexton inherited the win, but the championship was still waiting to see if he could carry it. It was a shock to the system. Some people call it luck, but in racing, you have to be on the track to capitalize on luck. Sexton was the only one left standing. He went into the finale in Salt Lake City with the red plate. The pressure was immense. He didn't just ride around to finish, he dominated the main event. He won the race and the 450 Supercross Championship. That victory ended the 20-year drought. The ghosts of 2003 were finally gone. Chase ended the season with 6 wins and 13 podiums. It was a war of attrition, and he was the last man standing.
Yep, you gotta be there, and this guy worked hard, very deserving of this championship.
Supercross was a battle. The Outdoor Pro Motocross Championship was a procession. This phase of the season saw a major shift. Jett Lawrence moved up to the 450 class full-time. This was the big question mark. Could the rookie handle the 450? The motos are 30 minutes plus 2 laps. It's physically grueling. He'd be racing against veterans like Sexton, though Chase missed some rounds with a concussion, Dylan Ferrandis, and Aaron Plessinger. Round 1 was at Fox Raceway. Jett qualified fastest. Then the gate dropped, and he went 1-1. It wasn't just that he won, it was how he won. His riding style is mesmerizing. He stands up through corners. He looks like he's going slow, but he's actually conserving energy and carrying massive momentum. It was immediately effective on the big bike.
But Jett Lawrence is going to do it. Fastest qualifier, 2 whole shots, and 1.
The only time he really looked in trouble was at High Point, round 4. Ken Roczen showed up on his Suzuki, and he came to race. In the first moto, Roczen actually passed Jett. He led laps. For the first time, Jett looked human. He had to regroup. He had to find new lines. He studied Roczen, figured out a spot, and made the pass back to win. In Moto 2, Jett managed the gap and won again. That was the moment the paddock realized the truth. Jett wasn't just fast, he was race smart. He could adapt mid-race.
Lawrence wins again. That makes him undefeated in overalls and moto wins.
From there, it was a grind. Redbud, Millville, Southwick. Southwick is brutal. It's a sand track known as the Wick 338. It destroys bikes and bodies. Jett led every single lap, and he won by a massive margin. He made the hardest track on the circuit look like a Sunday cruise. By the time they got to Unadilla for round 9, the math was inevitable. Jett went 1-1 again and clinched the 450 Pro Motocross Championship 2 rounds early. But he wasn't done. The perfect season was on the table. 22 motos, 22 wins. The pressure at the final round, Ironman, was heavy. One mistake, one flat tire, one bad start, and the perfection's gone. Jett executed perfectly. He won both motos. He done
it, and most incredibly, he has done it as a rookie, which no one has ever done, and here's the celebration.
Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart in the perfect season club. His stats for the summer were a joke. 22 motos raced, 22 motos won. He led the majority of laps in the series, and it set an impossible standard for everyone else still fighting. While Jett was making it look easy, Hunter Lawrence was in a street fight in the 250 class. His season was about resilience. He was battling Justin Cooper, Hayden Deegan, and Joe Shimoda. Hunter started strong. He led the first 4 overalls. He established a points lead, but at Redbud, disaster struck. In Moto 2, he got caught in a first turn crash. He suffered a rib injury and recorded a DNF. That is the nightmare scenario. His points lead evaporated. Rookie sensation Hayden Deegan was closing in. Rib injuries are painful. You can't breathe deeply. Every bump feels like a knife. Hunter rode injured at Southwick. He salvaged points, he gritted his teeth, and did what he had to do. He bounced back with a win at Washougal. That was the statement, I'm still here. He reasserted his dominance. He went into the finale at Ironman needing to outscore his rivals. He rode a conservative first moto to 5th place. It wasn't flashy, but it was mathematically enough. He secured the 250 Pro Motocross Championship. This was historic.
Here's Hunter Lawrence. He cruised the entire second moto because he already had that national championship wrapped up.
It made Hunter and Jett the first siblings to sweep the 250 and 450 titles in the same season. The Lawrence brothers had locked down the outdoors just like they did Supercross. The 2023 season had a new twist, the SuperMotocross SMX Playoffs. This was a 3-round series with a $5.5 million purse. Playoff 1 was in Charlotte. Chase Sexton reminded everyone he was still the Supercross champ. On a hybrid track, he went 1-1 and took the overall. Jett actually struggled, finishing 4th overall. He had trouble with the tight, rutted conditions in the first moto. It was the first time in months he looked vulnerable. Playoff 2 was at Chicagoland. Jett returned to form, but there was controversy. In Moto 2, he was battling Ken Roczen. On the final lap, Jett famously waved Roczen past him. Why? Finishing 2nd gave him the overall, and it completely scrambled the points for the finale. It was a calculated, almost arrogant move, but it worked. The finale was at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, the birthplace of Supercross. The stakes were simple: winner takes the championship and $1 million. It was a 3-way duel: Jett, Sexton, and Roczen. Chase Sexton was leading the points. He was leading the first moto. He looked destined to win. Then, disaster. He crashed heavily in the sand section. It was a violent crash. It ended his night and his title bid right there. That left Jett and Roczen, the young king versus the veteran. Jett made a late pass in the moto to win the race. He claimed the inaugural SuperMotocross 450 World Championship.
The 1-1 result equals $1 million.
There was one heartbreak for Honda that night. Hunter Lawrence entered the finale in contention for the 250 SMX title, but in practice, he suffered a severe crash. He injured his back and neck and had to withdraw. Hayden Deegan won the 250 title. It was the only major title Honda missed in 2023. The season didn't end in LA. The Lawrence brothers went to France for the Motocross of Nations. They represented Team Australia and finished 2nd overall, the country's best ever finish. Jett won the final moto against the world's best, including MXGP champion Jorge Prado. Then, in November, he went to the Paris Supercross and dominated, earning the King of Paris title. So, what does all this mean? The 2023 season for Team Honda HRC is a monolith. They secured 29 professional wins across 3 series. They won 5 AMA championships and 1 World Championship. Chase Sexton, 450 Supercross champion. Jett Lawrence, 250 West champion, 450 Motocross champion, 450 SMX champion. Hunter Lawrence, 250 East champion, 250 Motocross champion. This wasn't just about speed. It was about the brotherhood dynamic of the Lawrences maximizing points. It was about the frame redemption of the CRF 450. It was about the perfect storm of Sexton surviving while others faltered. History remembers the name on the trophy, but the narrative of 2023 is about a team that waited 20 years for their moment, and when it came, they didn't just take a slice of the pie, they cleared the table. Drop a comment. Does anything ever top a 22-0 rookie year? Click the next video on screen. We're not done yet. Thanks for watching, and stay wicked.